right. Okay, guys, so today we're talking about winning the buyers. I do a lot of buyer business, so this I think I should do all right with. Um, let's start. Step 14, let's learn something. How do I go? There we go. Telemarketing, DNC at your own risk, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Win the buyer. Lead gen, lead follow-up transaction. Guys, I'm just gonna talk like the way I do things, you know what I mean? There's a certain way that, I don't know how much by the book I need to be, but I'm just gonna tell you guys what I think of each slide. This is everything we're talking about today. We're going A buyers, I'm talking about getting the appointments. I'm assuming A buyers is probably making sure your buyer's qualified, right? Preparing for buyer consult, conducting the buyer consult, getting the signed buyer agreement, recap on HOTS, daily successes. Okay, cool. The right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. Just ask for it. What are your thoughts on that? Right?
Don't get fed, yeah.
Just do it. What does Simon always say? Always ask for the order. After that's the one that Simon likes. Yeah. All right, A buyers. Let's go. What is an A buyer? So for me, okay, so we do this in role play class a lot, right? How to qualify a buyer, right? Because you guys are gonna see, especially like when you're new, a lot of the conversations you're gonna be having is with potential buyers, right? So what I like to do is kind of first of all, get to know them a little bit, depends on where you met them, right? So I get a lot of my buyer leads from open houses, social media, or referrals, right? Obviously, the referral ones are always the easy. I don't know how you do it. Those are always the easiest conversations because they already trust you a little bit, right? Because they were referred to you. But generally, I like to start by asking. I'll put up my script right now, actually. You guys have to be a little bit of a lender. You want to ask qualifying questions. Because that's going to save yourself time, that's going to save your lender time. So this is my script. Hello, thank you for reaching out to me about buying a home. I can absolutely help you out. Will this be your first time buying a property? Yes, no, great. I start talking about the things that they're excited about, right? What areas are you interested in? What kind of criteria are you interested in? Because you know they've been looking at Zillow, you know they've been doing all that. So I like to start that conversation with what they're excited about, right? Why is that important why is it important that you're in Torrance? Is it the schools? I want to get them excited, right? So what I do after I get some criteria, if I'm able to, I go straight to the MLS while I'm on the phone with them, right? And I go, okay, it looks like houses in Torrance, from what you're describing, cost around $1 million, right? So now I'm going to start asking like the more personal qualifying questions of like, so I'll put in my mortgage calculator. So it looks like a home in this area is going for about $1 million. Let me calculate a monthly payment for you real quick. How much money are you trying to use for a down payment? So boom, I'm asking them how much money they got saved, right? So 25,000. Okay, let me put that in my calculator for you. So with 25,000 as your primary residence, first time buyer, your monthly payment is X, 6,500 a month, right? With a 6.25 rate. Is that comfortable for you and your family? And then quiet, right? And then most of the time you're gonna hear people are always sticker shocked, right? With the values. So they'll start going, no, that's a little high. I was hoping to be around 45. Okay, no worries. We can make a payment work at around 4,500. Are you open to adjusting your criteria? You know, and then if they are, then okay, let's start going down that. I mean, if you want Torrance, are you okay with Gardena or Lawndale, maybe Carson? You know, and then say, you know, those houses are going for 850. Let's calculate 850. Your payment's more like 5,000 a month. Are you comfortable with that? Great. Yes. All right. So I try to narrow down that monthly payment. That's what people are always interested in my experience, right? And then I start asking the other questions like, okay, do you work? Right? How long have you been working? Right? And what do you do for work? If they tell me they just got hired at a warehouse 3 months ago. That tells you everything you need to know, respectfully, right?
Yeah.
You guys got to know where to spend your time. If they tell me I have my own contracting business, I've been doing it 20 years, okay, then I'm gonna, give it some more attention. And then if it's somebody that called me from Instagram, they saw my Instagram post, right? If I asked you that you're comfortable with a $6,000 a month mortgage, you have a good job, and you got money saved, and then ask about the credit score. Know what your credit's like? Yeah, I got a 700. What are any car payments, credit cards? Yeah, I got a car payment. If it all sounds pretty decent verbally, I'll show you 1-2 houses to get to know you, especially if I don't know you. Somebody who randomly called me, and I have no rapport with you except for this phone call, and you want to see properties here locally, yeah, I'll drive out. I'll show you 1-2 properties to get you excited about it. A lot of people, you'll hear a lot of trainings, come to my office, have you sit down with my lender, which is okay too, right? But I just have had more luck with meeting people at properties and gaining their trust that way. And then we'll go ahead and.
But if you already have some sort of report.
Yeah, then it's different, if you have some sort of rapport, it's your referral from another client. Yeah, I'll go straight to the qualification. I'm comfortable enough saying, are you okay with just doing this? Just email me your documents, or email them to the lender. And doing it that way. You know what I mean? It's because you just have to read the buyer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people are very educated and understand that that's just the first step. Awesome. Majority or not, you have to take them through a little woo-wah, you know what I mean?
I think that socially and culturally now, that people are much less likely to come in for a consultation. So I can go out there and meet them and show them a couple of places, because everybody wants to do things so quickly.
Right.
But if we can get face to face with them, then we're gonna have some sort of connection. Hopefully,
Exactly.
and get them to that full sit down consultation, or that takes place at the trial.
Right, exactly. You just gotta have rapport with them. I mean, remember, we're collecting tax returns, we're collecting income information. I'm not comfortable sharing that with just anybody, I don't think any of us are, so we have to build that trust. And sometimes that trust is already built in a good situation. I do the same thing at open houses. So if I meet a buyer at an open house, like I just did an open house in Carson this last weekend, I look at other Carson homes that are on Supra, easy to show in the area. And I pull up, I print a list of those 3 homes, right? And then when they're at the open house, like the house was for 1.2. I was like, look, I got other properties at $1 million nearby. I'm out of here at 4. You want me meet there at 4:30? And I've got in business that way too, because people are like excited to look at more homes, but again, always ask the qualifying questions. Even at the open house, sometimes the open house is busy, you don't get a chance to, but if you have a chance to, like, you work, got good credit, even if it's just like that, like we can work with that, like give me minimal information, David. David, thanks for coming to the open house. I know you're interested in buying a house, and I want to show you more homes. Do you currently have a job?
Yeah, I've been on my employer for 3 years.
Okay, perfect. And how's your credit? You got good credit?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like for the credit card or whatever, it shows like 720 or something.
Perfect. And I got a little bit of money saved for down payment.
Yeah, right now about 300,000.
Okay, perfect. All right, yeah. So let's go check out these houses at 4:30. I'm out of here at 4. Yeah, like even if it's that quick, I'll take that as enough information to spend more time. If in the majority of the time you're actually going to get the opposite, right? Hey, I just got a job. Are there any house payments for $2,500 a month? For those, then kindly, respectfully say, look, you need 3 things to buy a home. If you're getting a loan, you need credit, income, and down payment. We can assist you with credit, with down payment assistance. We can help you with any of those 3 as much as we can. We're not really with the income, right? But and then you just got to make your best judgment of how much time you want to spend with them. If they're something to put like for the future, I put them in my Real Scout system, and I just auto email the properties. And then as a result, I got a bunch of people just looking at properties on my website, and that's and then I just gotta follow up, right? So, so pretty much that's what I consider an A buyer, right? And that's like it's a whole other conversation if we're talking about like investors, right? Because like I had, like we were talking about my vacant lot listings, like that's a whole other whole other set of qualifying questions, like just to go through it, right? Like if I have for these vacant lots, I want to ask, how much construction experience do you have? Can you send me some addresses of other properties you built? You know, and you know, are you familiar with unincorporated LA County? Have you ever built on slopes, right? Especially if they're gonna be partnering up with my seller, you know? So it's just a matter of, I guess, analyzing the goal. And then, you know, and trying to qualify that client to see if they can actually reach that goal. So it'll just be something that comes with practice over time when you know your stuff. But I think this little graph is kind of referring to like strengthening the relationship through the database. I'll be honest, I am not that great at a CRM. My CRM is my phone. I save you as David Torrance Buyer. And if I'm on a long drive, I just remember I talked to you. If I'm sitting down in the office, it's like I'm gonna follow up for an hour. I just type in buyer on my contacts and I just start calling. You know, as far as automation, all I personally use is Real Scout, sending auto properties, and HomeBot. Sending, if they own a property, you got a property, I'll give you a monthly value for free. That's all the automation I personally do.
Can you say
I
that
think,
again?
I think what, you know, is being asked, what is an A buyer? I think they're making reference to, you know, typically an A buyer is referring to a buyer who's now raising their hand.
Right.
Saying, I am willing to purchase a home, you know, probably within the next 30 to 60 days.
Right.
Okay, and I'm looking to raise, and so at that point, you know, if when you are looking at your database and having dialogue from those within your database, if you last spoke with them 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And they ended up saying, you know, probably I'll be interested in maybe in about 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's now 6 months.
Yeah.
Since your last contact. All right, now it's like, all right, it may be worth having a conversation. And it's like, yeah, I'm now interested. And now that buyer was a potential buyer 6 months ago.
Right.
Okay, is
now
now hopefully now an active buyer, and now you go through your qualification process.
Exactly. Yeah, whenever they raise their hand in that way, whether it's right away at the open house or 6 months later after your last conversation, that's when you take them through this process, right? Another great way that, I don't know if it talks about it in this thing, is social media. I mentioned it a couple times. I like to try to get people to add me on Instagram, and I try to post on Instagram often, right? I know there's like, people want to go viral and then get random people to contact you from a viral video. But I like to look at every post, like every time I post a story on Instagram, I get the same like 200 people looking at it, right? Every time I post something real estate related, I'm watering that seed. And over time, I started realizing, I'm like, hey, these people have been looking at my story for years. And now they started contacting me about real estate, right? And besides that, it's your social resume. You know, when I tell people, look, follow me on Instagram, I only have like 1,700 followers, not a whole lot. But they could see all my activity. Like, okay, he's an active realtor. He's been doing it a while. You can scroll down. I got tons of posts. So that's why social media is really important, not just because of like the virality that you can get, but because it strengthens the relationships with whoever your followers are. Okay. So I'm gonna move on. Any questions? And I love that you guys are participating. I definitely want this to be open dialogue.
So you made a reference twice to Real Scout.
Yeah.
I had used that several years ago. It was kind of included in being a part of KW.
Yeah.
Is it still a free service for KW, or do you have to pay?
I pay $50 a month.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not bad at all. And it just, I was having trouble with it yesterday, so I got to relog in, but I'm logged in on my phone. It just gives me, sorry for the people on Zoom. Just gives me all the activity, open, saw property, you know, it like, I have like, I think like 300 people on here. So I like, when they have, like a day ago, Marcinia looked at this specific property. Great opportunity, call Marcinia. Say, hey, I saw you were looking at that property, you know, what are your thoughts? Which I don't do enough of. But aside from that, I also use Real Scout. I like to use it like to send properties. right? So how do you guys send properties to buyers? Like they give you a criteria, like how do you send?
Generally, I set up a search on the MLS.
MLS, okay.
That's
Yeah,
true.
and the MLS is fine. I personally don't like it. I like Real Scout because of the way it presents them and because I noticed not every agent has it. So it's a little different. And then on top of that, the way I send properties is when I have a very serious buyer, I set up a hot sheet for them on my MLS.
Mhm.
And I just go on the hot sheet every day, every other day, look at all the new listings, something they might like. And then I like to text them, especially the older folks who are the actual buyers most of the time. They don't like seeing an email with a link that they gotta access on their phone and the computer. If you just text them a property, they love that. So as a result, this is my buyers right now. Like this is how I send the properties, you know? And then they click it and it's my Real Scout, right? Because I don't want to send it on Zillow, Redfin. I want to send my stuff. So, and it just looks real clean, you know, like they can go through the text and look at the picture. It's kind of like a Zillow link, but for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
So anyway, that's a lesson on Real
And
Scout.
that's through Real Scout?
Yeah, $50 a month. You gotta spend money on your business, guys. I just sometimes just go. I gotta do it, right? So I'm gonna move on from the slide. Talked about a lot already.
Can I ask something, Eric? Like,
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't have the chance to ask anyone else. So, how much should we allocate as a budget, as agents, monthly budgets?
You have it controlled?
That's who's talking? Omer?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, how much should you allocate as a budget for marketing, for systems like Real Scout?
Like, if I'm a direct, how much do you pay, for example, monthly for your? How much does it cost to be an agent per month?
All right, so look, first of all, okay, the MLS and board fees. Okay, we all know we all have that, right? That's like what, like 1,000,
Whatever, yeah.
1,200 a year, whatever, right? So there's that. There's your office fees. We all got our office fee. I have an office that I rent, right? My office bill ends up being around $300 a month. I pay $50 a month for Real Scout. I pay $65 a month for HomeBot. I pay $150 a month for Mojo, and I'm not counting. That's $150 plus 60, 210, 15. I pay $100 a month for Go High Level, 316. What else? I know there's more.
Vulcan.
I canceled Vulcan.
Oh, you canceled it?
Yeah, so much money, bro.
Do you do any printing or postage or?
Yeah, I do.
Those are your big costs.
Yeah, I'm on my farm. I print 1,000. I haven't been doing it. I'm about to start doing it again. 1,000 postcards a month for my farm in Redondo. That's $180 a month. So that's what so that's another. We're like 400 now. I don't know, man. Work with whatever you can, Omer. Am I saying that right, Omer?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, Omer, work with whatever you can. I'd say out of everything I just mentioned, definitely Real Scout and HomeBot. Real Scout and HomeBot. Those are your it's like $100 a month probably. But it is
I didn't
expensive.
get that. What did you say? I didn't get that.
Real Scout, which
Real
is the
Scout?
system I just talked
Yeah.
about, and then HomeBot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are, so HomeBot is great. That one sends a CMA every month. You guys know HomeBot? You know HomeBot?
Mhm.
Yeah, so HomeBot sends a CMA every month of their property values. And yeah, I mean, there's always random stuff.
I think he was also asking kind of in general, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Omar.
Yeah.
Percentage wise, what do you spend?
Like for my commissions?
And I believe, kind of like MREA, I think they talk about like 10, I think marketing is like 10 to 12%, if I recall.
Yeah.
So if you're having a annual goal of 100,000, okay, 10 to 12 grand in marketing, in marketing, is in that range.
And that you're absolutely right, Steve, 100%. The problem is that I'm not organized like,
I should, because, you could end up grossing 100 grand in commission and you could end up spending 70 in
Yeah.
expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really have that reality check when I do my taxes. That's when I really see, okay, wow, how much did I actually spend, you know, which the deadline is this Saturday for the corpse, I'm scared. But anyway,
You are incorporated. So that's-
yeah, I have an escort. Yeah, and the reason I got it is I got a fat tax bill. A couple years ago, I was like,
I was just gonna chip in
Yeah.
that, I know people personally, and I've always heard that people have done this on a shoestring budget. That.
Yeah,
that
we can.
They just grind away at open houses, they grind away on cold calls.
yes,
They door knock and they get business.
yes.
That has not been my experience.
There's a lot of free ways to do it, if you're willing to put in the work. Yeah,
But I think being conscious of, okay, I just closed a deal and I have this much money. How much of this am I gonna put in back into my business?
yeah,
Now, what I have done is I've always allocated 20% of my commissions to go back into my business.
Yeah.
Okay, that pays for all my real estate
Yeah.
expenses, rent, marketing,
yeah,
printing, the whole 9 yards.
right,
Is what I allocate.
yeah, there you go. See, you're way better at it than me, Steve, you know, I just go, like, cause like the expenses come up like not all at the same time for me, right? Like,
No, and that's why there's times in which that account gets pretty fat.
Yeah.
Okay, but then it's there also to be able to on larger marketing activities.
Yeah.
You know, like,
direct deposit your expenses into one specific.
well, I have to, kind of how I've done it, is I divide my check really into six, I call it my 60-20-20.
okay.
Okay.
You should, I like this thing. I'm learning like that too, bro.
And
Write it down, bro.
And maybe others could, I take 60%, 20% is allocated just for income taxes. Okay.
Yep, gotta do that.
Plan and so, the other 20% is my real estate business expenses.
Yeah.
And the other 60% is now for my personal expense, for my personal, use.
Yeah,
At that point, non-business.
And out of that 60, do you still make like reinvestments to make sure that it doesn't fully go away, or that 60 is just for full enjoyment?
Well, no, that 60 still pays pays for my house payment and my utilities and, and then I still have on the days in which or the years that I've actually budgeted
yeah,
that 60%, then you can create a budget on that,
yeah,
but I'll tell you, when I've been consistent on doing that 60-20-20, it never got into, and I seem to always been pretty damn good with all my expenses.
Yeah.
Flush with more, with real estate, marketing.
that must be satisfying, man. When you do that.
As well as with Uncle Sam, not having to worry about it with Uncle Sam.
Yeah, I gotta get more organized, man. I'm not that great with that stuff, so I gotta get better at that.
And what I did is I created separate accounts. This wasn't just, I created a separate bank account just for income taxes.
Yeah.
Just for taxes.
Yeah.
I physically, when I get the check from Keller Williams, okay, out of that big check, okay, I deposit that into my main account, and I physically then transfer the 20% and the 20%
Yeah.
into account A and account B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You have an escort?
I used to. I no longer do.
Okay. Yeah, I have my S corp that I probably gotta get some other stuff, either right. You got some say, Joe?
I was gonna ask Kevin if you feel comfortable answering this. We were talking about how to lead generate. I've seen you guys walking out of here.
That is us. Now is this Ignite? Yeah.
What are you?
You're sexy. I'm
I'm here to, maybe somebody could teach me something.
How do you get your marketing costs?
Let's figure out marketing costs.
Yeah, like how do you put that, deal with all that?
What's the formula for that? We don't.
Yeah.
We just pour money into it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And we're just.
that's how I do it, dude.
I don't count those numbers, I just, yeah. Do you track how? We do keep track. But in terms of, because I see you guys walking out of here with buckets full of trash mail. Yeah. And so do you have a standard list farm that's, how big is that?
Well, because our partnership is 50/50, everything that we split, whether it's ink costs, staples, all the marketing pieces,
Yeah.
it's split down the middle. So we have a monthly sheet where we fill in what the expenses are. Sometimes she'll pay more, sometimes I'll pay more, or vice versa. And at the end, we just split it, right? And then that is recorded to, we pay out for my corporate card, of course.
So you get points.
Usually I was in one.
Of course. Okay, cool. Any more questions on that? No? I appreciate the question, Omer. We're gonna move on. Okay, we did that. I think we just did that. Getting the appointment. Respond right away to lead inquiries. This is really important. You get the inquiry, you gotta be fast as you can. People forget the inquiry, you know?
Or they get somebody else.
Or they get somebody else, you know, like, if you take 2 days, which is right, not too long of a time, 48 hours, like you could lose that person because you didn't respond right away.
Fred was telling us about a lead he had in the morning and followed up like at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
They already had gone with somebody else.
yeah, you gotta be ready at all times. And that's why this is a 24/7 gig. Like, believe me, I've been home. Last night I was home at 8 o'clock and I wanted to relax. My buyer called me. I take that call right now. I'm still in my grind mode. Some people have different boundaries. I'm still in my grind mode. I'll take that 8 o'clock call from my cash buyer, right? And to me, that's a lead inquiry still. You know what I mean? That's still there's calling me about a specific property, right? Give valid and complete contact information, save it to command and create an opportunity. This open house comes to mind. A little trick I do when I'm at the open house, and I saw it work this weekend once again. There's 2 ways to do it. I've done the open house right now. I'm doing just regular sign in. People like to put their name and no number or email, right? So what I do is the first person just put their name. I write a fake email and a fake phone number, and then that way the rest of the people follow.
I used to always even start off putting a
Yeah.
fake name and
Yes.
phone number and email,
Yes,
you know.
yes, that's actually even better. Yeah.
And it was always the same person that I always used,
Yeah.
a buddy of mine, you know,
Yeah.
he still is. And so he was always my first entry every time.
Right.
Okay.
Right. The only trick with that one is that, like, if they start, if you start having to fill in different names, different numbers and stuff for people, you gotta make the writing look different. Yeah, so they're not. Exactly. So as far as getting accurate information, I mean, that's a little bit out of your control, you know what I mean? The way to kind of maybe help that is providing value, get them real excited about wanting to talk to you again. You know what I mean? For example, I got other properties I can show you after this open house that are just as good for a lower price. What, you know, well, I want you to call me.
I found, you know, whenever I requested for them to sign in right when they walk through the door,
Yeah,
when I'm having everybody sign in,
yeah,
has been my least successful for me.
okay,
Okay. It's always been when I get into dialogue with them.
right,
To some degree, you know, and then, hey, let's follow up, okay, let's stay in touch. Then they have no problem giving me complete name, phone number, you know, and
Exactly.
email.
yeah,
You
and
know,
it's
so I
a,
kind of cherry picked and
yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't want to work with everybody. I get what you're saying, Steve, and it's up to you how strict you want to be about that. Like Steve saying, like, I don't even want everybody's number if I didn't connect with you like that.
well, I don't want to have to fight, you know,
Exactly.
to me, it's like, you know, all you did was leave a name and it's chicken scratch on top of it. You
Yeah,
know, so
yeah.
it's really, you know what the hell your name is. Okay.
And you have a chance of whether or not it's accurate.
Exactly.
And then probably then even if I decide to fight, you know, hey, you didn't leave your phone number, you know, they're gonna say, well, I'm working on another agent anyway, it's like, all right, fine. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't wanna work with you, you don't wanna work with me, if there's already not even a connection enough, it's like, fine. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because I've had that experience where at an open house, I'm like, yeah, the seller really wants everybody to sign in, and sort of parcel and everything. And it's like, no.
yeah,
And it's like, do I have to? I'm like, well, they really want you to do it. No.
yeah.
Like, so are you gonna show me the house? I'm like, yes, I'm gonna show you the house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. At one point, I was just a little crazy that I need you to sign in, and I told people, okay, you can't. I was in that mood that day. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, the sellers is requiring to sign in. If you don't want to sign in, I can't show you the house.
Yeah.
So it depends on you, how strict you want to be about it, you know? And they left, and I was like, all right, peace. You know,
Well,
so.
you can use like fake name, okay? So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly, they're not gonna connect with you anyway. You know, why press the issue?
Would you say by doing that, you're gonna avoid kind of having like a knockoff person, like, you know?
What do you mean? Doing what by like what I said?
Yeah, being strict with it, like
Yeah.
telling them like, no, you can't come in.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, you know, at that point, you kind of avoided
Yeah,
kind of wasting your time.
yeah, you already crashed with them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna connect with them anyway. Yeah,
Years ago, I'm talking years ago, you know, probably 30 years ago, there was an agent. How he conducted his open houses, and I never was bold enough to do it, but I still think it's a hell of an idea.
okay,
He used to literally show each buyer at an open house the home. And he would have a little TV tray with a clipboard of a signing list, and he'd have a saying, showing home right now, okay. He would lock the front door, okay, while he's in the house with that set of buyers showing him room to room and having dialogue, one-on-one.
yeah,
Okay, now mind you, this is pre-internet days.
Yeah.
You know, so the buyer had no idea before walking into the home, whether it was a 2-bedroom home or a 5-bedroom home. You know, and had no pictures
Gotcha.
before, so it was their first viewing of the home,
yeah,
as opposed to, and, you know, but it was very effective, because literally then, I mean, he then, and there were times in which the buyers had questions, he would take 10 minutes, maybe 15.
right,
And then you go to the clipboard, because now there's a series of people outside on the porch and driveway. All right, John and Mary Smith, you're next on the list.
right,
All right, John, I guess John and Mary, okay, Bill and Mary Jones,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and then, all right, and we'll be with you in a little bit, and he give them the one-on-one attention.
right, and that's been a big shift in our industry, right? When I talk to experienced agents like yourself, Steve, like before, realtors had all of the information.
We had it all.
And that was the key. They don't know anything unless they're talking to you. Now, since they got Zillow, Redfin and everything, it like now you have to really pivot to create value. You know what I mean? That's why, I mean, throw the off markets in there. You guys need an off market list? I got a whole set of send me off market deals all the time. So I throw it out there. I got off market deals.
Right.
I can send you some addresses right now. And people love it. You know, it's a great way to connect, and people always want to know the inside scoop that nobody else does.
Right.
Yes, Mr. Kevin?
Heard you talk about that.
Yeah, what about
Roger Marcus just bought it.
Yeah,
Really?
I saw
Oh,
that.
did they really?
It's like couple days ago.
Wow.
So they're probably gonna do loans through, because Rocket Mortgage is the #1 loan company.
Right.
So they're probably gonna do like one shop,
Right, yeah.
do loan and purchase.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And Zillow's a brokerage, now Redfin's a lender. Wow, that's crazy. These are all shifts that we gotta pay attention to. I didn't know that.
I hope it goes better for
Austin.
Redfin than it did
The what?
for
Austin, he had a
Zillow.
chat.
Right.
Oh, Austin has something to say? Austin, where you at, my friend? Where you at, brother? Austin. You had a
Question
question?
more, yeah.
Let's make this bigger. Austin, for open houses, you put a QR code for people to scan. People have grown accustomed to entering their personal information. You know what? Thank you for bringing that up, Austin, because that's my other way. I have a QR code where you know, guys, I was a web designer for a while, so I have a lot of my own custom stuff. I can show you guys my open house QR code. I don't know if it's actually working. I haven't really quite used it. Why? I don't know. But yeah, I have a QR code. I just want to bring it up. And people can sign in there. So I asked them, come to my open house, please sign in. And instead of a sign-in sheet, it's a QR code. And on the QR code, it takes them to my website and it collects their information. And it looks a little something like this. And I'm sorry, you guys can't see it. Set a request, I guess, please sign in by scanning QR code and filling out the form on the website. So scan it, David. Check it out. So you can see. Or you can scan it, bro.
Yeah, right.
And it just goes to my website and it's just a form. What's cool about the form is one, they're not scribbling.
Right,
Right,
yeah.
so you can read, right? Two,
Need information.
I have the form set up, so it can't submit it unless they fill out all the information.
Like you required it.
Yeah, and then what's cool about the form two is that you can now, that automatically goes to your CRM. And then you can set up a text response, so. I gotta get back to my stuff, right? I haven't really actively been doing this, but what I would have it set up is they would sign in, then I would have the text go out to them in 15 minutes after they check, so that way on their way into the car, after seeing the house. They get a text saying, Eric, thank you for coming by the open house. Here's a link so you can refresh your memory on the property. And here's a couple more properties in the area that you might like. And that's kind of how the QR, so yeah, Austin, great point. QR code is great, you just gotta have a system for it. I don't know if Command has something like that.
There's also apps, open house
Yeah.
sign-in, apps.
Yeah, exactly, mine's is custom.
Yeah.
But there's tons of apps that do it. You can even do it with a Google form. It's easy to do with a Google form too. So yeah, Austin, great point. Thank you for bringing that up. Let's get back to the slides. And I'm just gonna keep the slides like this. We were there, then we went to Haas, getting the appointment. Right here, determine their motivation to buy so you can speak on it. Yeah. Everything is the motivation. We gotta know why they're doing things. Set an appointment time and date for as soon as possible. The script is always the same for me when setting an appointment. Does weekdays or weekends are better for you? Afternoon, morning, afternoon, or evening, and then that way it's easy for people to just kind of answer rather than them thinking, oh, I got this thing on Saturday, and then obviously confirm your appointments. You don't want to show up to Moreno Valley to show properties and nobody showed up. It's happened to me. It sucks.
I was gonna say, it sounds like personal experience.
7, close to appointment tactics. How are you on time? Okay, great. Show the benefits, take back close. I guess I assume like create a demand, kind of like, oh, I got another buyer coming too. So you should do it. I don't know. Negative, positive close. Does it describe more about what these are? Or like it's telling me what to say.
Take back those, go back up on the notes. Can we go down?
Show the benefits. In general, people are more likely to go along with something you suggest. We explain the benefit to them. Take back close. This technique puts a tempting offer in front of the buyer, then subtly creates a fear that they may not be able to get it. I've enjoyed talking with you. To be honest, I don't know whether I can be of help to you or not. However, I'd be honored if we can meet to find out how. How about we meet tomorrow? What came to mind to me when I read this is a property that it's a competitive property.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Not last.
Exactly. And it's true, like yesterday, I was showing a townhome in San Pedro, right? And 3 days on the market, and they already had an offer. My buyer was really excited about it. She was like, I want it. For some reason in her head, she said she'd seen that property on the market forever. And it was not. I double checked, it was only 3 days, but I agreed with her. Yeah, it must be some issue on my side. Always agree, right? Now that we're over that, do you want to submit the offer? And I when I'm at a showing and a buyer likes a property, I call the listing agent in front of them. And I go, let's call the agent right now. So I want them to hear, yep, I got an offer, I got 2 offers, okay? And so I think that's like the take back close. right? So look, David, I know you love the property, you just heard the agent, there's 2 offers right now, they said it's above asking. And I try to dig with those listing agents, how much is the offer? Can you share? We really want to get this offer accepted. You can just tell me how much the offer is, we can just go right above it, so that way you're selling it to a good price. Some agents will, straight up, hey man, this is the highest offer, beat it, right? Some agents won't. And if they don't want to share too much, I start trying to spit some numbers out. It's listed at, this one was listed at 595, yeah, it was 595. So if we go 605, are we kind of in competition? Nah, man, you're still low. 615, 620. Okay, now you're getting there. So that's how I kind of try to get a number, especially in a competitive situation. So yeah,
If you were the other way around, and you're the listing agent, are you open to telling, like, if somebody does that, like, ask you straight?
yes, I wanna help make things easy for people. But I also want to get my seller the best price. I don't like personally on the listing side sharing a direct number. I'd rather play the little, like, yeah, you know what, man, we're above list price, or we're close to list price. And you know, you can't, people are smart. The property's been on the market for 3 months. You're talking about got 3 offers.
Yeah,
But I
but
mean-
it's 3 days, yeah.
Yeah, 3 days, you know, like, so it all depends. Let's say you have something to say, Steve.
Well, I mean, I share, most of the time, if I have offers and we're in negotiations and we get that call while there's counter out or we just, you know, a little bit, and, you know, I'll typically ask, but, yeah, I mean, I'll typically share, okay? But I'll also ask you the qualifying question. What kind of a buyer do you have?
Yes.
Okay, and I hate to say it, you know, in the sense of what kind of a down does your buyer have?
Right.
Referring to, because again, it's not just all about the price.
Right.
Okay, it's about the terms. And I will typically advise my seller to accept a lower priced listing if that buyer in competition is willing and able to remove, let's say, not only an appraisal contingent, but even a loan contingent.
Yeah.
Okay, and in a competitive offer situation, a buyer who's putting 50% down, who's already pre-approved, they are more willing to remove a loan contingency.
Yeah.
Okay, than a first-time home buyer who's only putting FHA 3.5% down.
Right.
Okay, even though, because they go, well, they'd be willing to. Okay, you know, but do they even have the means to be able to remove a loan and appraisal contingency?
Yeah.
If, God forbid, because now they're overbidding,
Right.
okay, that they don't have the means to make up the difference in case the appraisal comes in low.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
it's such a different ballgame when you're like I was selling homes in 2020 when the rates were 3% and everything was getting
Outbid like 100.
40 offers, properties having 50 offers, like that's insanity, right? If you have a strong enough buyer, that's why you got to work with a good lender that you trust. Because if you have a strong buyer and you know their file is clean, don't be scared to remove the low contingency if they really want the house and they fully understand what they're getting into. Like, you can do it. You know what I mean? Get your offer accepted, you know, and just let them know, you know, you're committed to this.
But you need to know as that buyer's agent, what that means from A to Z, so that you're able to explain it to them
Exactly.
A to Z.
So where can they learn more, Steve? Where can they learn how to control the contract?
Learn about contract.
Every Thursday. Yeah, no, guys, if you have a really clean file and the buyer understands what they're getting into and they love the house and it's a competitive situation, don't be afraid to remove the loan contingency, you know? Just be very careful and know what you're doing, right? So that's what I'll talk, the take back close on the competitive situation. So it says 2 minutes, we went a little over, guys. What are the other ones here? Give them what they're looking for, trial close, assumptive close. I mean, I assume that I always assume the sale. I always assume the sale, you know, we looked at the property. Okay.
You like it?
Yeah, you like it? Okay, great. I'm gonna prepare the offer. Every time I have a buyer wants to submit an offer, I send them a CMA. I want them to see the values in the area, understand, if they're getting a good deal or not. But I always assume it, and,
And as a buyer agent, when you do your CMA, do you try to get more into the middle than into the high side? Or
you mean like,
let's say you see a range from like 650 to 700,000.
yeah,
Like, so you've seen homes in the last 90 days around that range. You tend to want to go lower, like towards the 650, or they're asking price of 700 because they're trying to get.
yeah, well, it depends on the listing, it depends on the buyer, right?
It depends on the comps.
And the comps.
Depends on the condition.
Yeah,
You know, if the higher price comps are nicer, already updated comps, and you can tell by the pictures, and the subject property under consideration for offer is just vanilla, hasn't been updated in 30 years, okay? At that point, the dialogue that you have with the buyer, gee, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer of ours, okay, looks as though the prices, at the higher end here are reflecting that it's already updated homes. This home at that point, they're asking on, at their asking prices on the higher end based on the comps of the condition.
right,
Okay, so understand in so doing, you're probably going to be paying a premium if you end up getting at list price or higher.
exactly.
Based on the recent comps.
Exactly.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't ever try to lean I mean, sure, maybe I want the buyer to lean a certain way to
You don't
the
steer,
property.
you just analyze.
Yeah, you analyze, provide the data, I give you my opinion. Right, that's it. I do the CMA. It depends on the mood you're in. Yesterday I sent CMAs, I wasn't in the greatest mood, so I put a little comment, hey, looks good to me, what do you think? You know what I mean? Yeah, but I got in full detail mode. Hey, look, if you look at property on Main Street, you look at the 3rd bedroom, it looks like the square footage, you know what I mean? Like, I just analyze, provide my opinion, Mr. Buyer, what would you like to do? So that's it. Is there a condition?
And it's interesting, over the course of time, depending on how long you're working with a buyer, my last one was a couple months.
Yeah,
I had to renew my representation agreement.
Yeah.
Remind them, it's like, we've been doing this a while. And over that course of time, we realized how the market was moving up. And I was like, it's not the best condition, but clearly the high end of these CMAs,
right,
that's where we're gonna be at.
right, exactly,
That's
exactly.
market we get.
Exactly. Yeah, because you don't want appraisal issues. And if you can, kind of analyze that situation up front, then that's money. Let's move on. Okay. Give them what they want. It's turning trial close. Trial close tests the waters first. You should find out where the clients generally agree. Can you see how you're seeing all the new homes, the market price range would help you in your home search? Something closed, tie down, just tie down. Tie down their phrase.
Wouldn't
That be great? Or can't you? Isn't it? Wouldn't you?
You see how owning a home is definitely going to be beneficial on your taxes, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Do I use that? Kind of.
We don't, I'll tell you, I don't think we use those, years ago we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really go like that.
But dealing with the tax argument now, being able to write off a mortgage and property taxes,
Yeah.
although we get the benefit of it,
Yeah.
but that's not the main reason.
Right.
Years ago, it used to be, yeah, my accountant is telling me I need to go buy a house, I'm paying too much in taxes.
Yeah.
Most people don't buy a home as a tax reduction. Most
Right.
people buy, at least their primary home. Most people buy a home because they want home ownership, and they're
Right.
tired of renting, and they want to have the benefit of home ownership.
100%. Buyer objections to the appointment. Ask questions, empathize. Yeah, so I kind of deal with these on cold calls, right? Ask questions, empathize. Tell me more about that. Why is that important to you? I certainly understand how you feel. I agree with you. I agree with you. Oh, I always agree with them. I coach used to say, I agree with them, but don't buy into their bullshit. You know the truth. Like if you know that person enough, you know the objection. And really asking questions is how you dig. Like when I'm cold calling, and people trying to get off the phone with me, right? I just start asking questions. Why did you take the property off the market? You know, and if they answer it, then I'm asking them another question. Then why did you put it on the first place? If you sold it, where would you move to? Right? And just start asking the questions. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm live with a cold caller selling me something, I don't like just clicking on them. I feel rude. You know what I mean? So if they're asking me a good question, I tend to like naturally react and answer it, you know? So that's kind of how I deal with the objections. Empathize always, of course. I did a divorce sale in November. You know, I was dealing with both sides. Luckily it was pretty peaceful. Yeah, you know, but there were still definitely moments where, you know, gotta empathize, identify the real issue, you know? I mean, like I said, I deal that with the cold calls. Like I like to ask them like, what do you think? Why do you think the property didn't sell? Right when I'm talking to expirers, do you think it was the agent or the marketing? You know, and or say something like offering a solution, like kind of that same phrase, but in a different ways. Like, you know, usually when properties don't sell, it's either because the property wasn't properly exposed or the price was too high. What do you think it was? You know, and try to come down to it, right? Urge an agreement. What does that mean? Ask again for the appointment, you know? So a lot of these are all just sales tactics, right? It's all, here's the thing, guys. It's like people know when you're being genuine. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to grab these little phrases and then use them in your speaking and not sound salesy. You know what I mean? You guys just have to, it's really interesting because you have to make, at first the script is very scripty, but it has to kind of just become part of you. And that's when it starts going away, being a script. And it's just like your more natural way of being, because you come to realize that that's really ultimately the way to do things. It's like on my scripts that I prep for class, my main note on there, just be a human having a conversation.
And then you start kind of creating
Yeah,
your own wording on it.
exactly. Because exactly, like when I tell people in role-play class, my script is just a suggestion.
It's a starting point.
It's a starting point. You always have to throw your own style, your own spin on it. Any ahas you guys want to talk about? Should we move on? Okay.
I just want to say that, you know, I realized that these scripts can actually also work in not just business and also life, you know, like talking to your wife, talking to people around you. Yeah, it really helps. The power of words, we can see it.
Yeah, man. I do that with my friends sometimes, like if they don't want to go out, you know, if I want to go out, like, wouldn't you agree that it'd be better to go out tonight than stay home? You know, what's stopping you from going out, man? Is it the money? You know, what are we gonna spend $50 after I buy you a drink, whatever? Like, that's one of the many examples, you know. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Sales is life.
No, it is.
Life is sales.
I mean, just like
Yeah.
the Ford method, you know.
Yeah.
You know, family, occupation, recreation, dream. It works when you're speaking to a prospect, you know, at an open house, you know, tell me about your family, what do you do for a living, occupation, you know, it's holiday weekend, you know, you got any plans for the holidays, etc. But it works the same way that in your personal life, you go to a party, meet new people and all that. I mean, you know, the same 4 questions, you know, that come up when you're in dialogue.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I like to use the example, like I've been selling since I was a kid. You know, we've all been selling since we were kids. Like, you want to go out and play with your friends?
You gotta convince your mom.
You know, you got to do your chores first. You know, your bed's got to be made. You know, you got to whatever, and then you know you prepared, right? You did your research before. And
Perfect one is staying later past your curfew.
sure,
You know,
yeah,
being able to come back later than your curfew.
Yeah.
You had to close for that, of all the reasons and rationales, and you had, you know, and you did. It's all right. So
yeah.
ever since we were kids, we actually have been closing.
And on a real estate transaction, you have to close a client 10 times, you know, before you actually closing escrow. You know, you got to close them on trusting you. You gotta close them at the appointment. You gotta close them at the house that you know they wanna buy, but they're hesitant. You gotta, you gotta close them during the inspections. You gotta close them when they're asking you weird questions about the contract. You know, like you gotta close them when they're removing contingencies. You're like, okay, you're fully committed now, right? So you gotta close a client 10 times throughout a real estate transaction. So you definitely wanna have those sales skills, and it just comes with practice. You know what I mean? So let's keep going here. Doing on time, 3:02, we're halfway, guys. Preparing for the buyer. Okay, this is gonna be good. Okay, so buyer consultation. This can mean a lot of different things, right? So here they're suggesting confirm appointment, confirm location, ensure all the decision makers attend. Yes, very important. Don't waste your time. Complete your buyer guide, prepare the meeting space, review the lead sheet. So for me, a buyer consultation is essentially what I just talked to you guys. That phone call, that meeting showing you a few properties, that's my buyer consultation. I close a lot of buyers, and I hardly ever have them come in here and sit down with the lender. That's not the way I do things, you know? So everybody's different. So my consultation is adding them on social media, sending them properties, making sure they're qualified, getting them with the right lender, just doing all those steps. I have my little presentation package. I do have like my little 8-page.
For buyers?
Yeah, I just use it for everything.
Oh,
Yeah, guys gotta create something. I don't know if Command has anything, but just a little, I'm Joe McMahon, I've been nice picture, like yada yada, just print out 10 of them, have them in the little KW folders, keep them in your car at all times. You know what I mean?
I think it's really important during this time to build your value. And there's a 4-page brochure that's on KW that has a flow chart. And it goes through all of the things that are gonna happen in the process
Yes.
for buying a house. Because a lot of people are just like, oh, well, I can go look at homes by myself,
Yeah,
but they don't understand the process.
right,
And I kind of go through that and I'm like, you're gonna probably see the same homes I am, but I can make sure that you get to see them by scheduling or having access to them. But my real value is going to be assessing the market for you and the negotiations in getting this property in escrow
Right.
and beyond. So that's one of the things that I try to do for a buyer
Yeah.
consultation.
no, definitely, it's having a layout of the steps is very helpful. We all have dreams, right? One of my dreams is to have a whole automation, a landing page. I wrote down the steps the other day of buying process. I counted like 30 steps, right? Pre, during, post, right? And ideally, I need to have like a landing page for each one of those steps with a video of myself suited up describing each step. And every time we're in that step, moving through my little funnel, you know what I mean? I should have like a little landing page for each one. They can go, we're on step 1, step 5, so that's a whole other thing I want to work on and create. Yeah, it's a big project. But yeah, the consultation, like in reality, it's not this big meeting that the buyer is going to come sit down with you. Like it can be that way. It can, sure. A lot of people do it that way.
Used to.
But I'm mostly just like, let's go. You know what I mean? And that's just how I do things. If I do have the big meetings. Like I mean, people come in and stuff, but it doesn't seem to work. I have more of like a kind of flow, like a let's go type of thing, right? But everybody's different. Complete your buyer guide. That's what we talked about. The 10 service areas of the buyer value proposition. Needs analysis. The 10 service areas of the buyer value proposition.
like what do they need?
Yeah, neighborhood information, home search. I mean, this is
It's more of steps, those
Yeah.
are really almost steps.
yeah. I mean, this is exactly. The steps and like the criteria, but like when it comes to like there's also like the reality of what they can afford. You know what I mean?
Well, that would be the second one, right?
Yeah, pre-qualification, pre-approval. Yeah, like a lot of people, unfortunately, I mean, it is a sticker shock for properties right now. So like
Even for people who can afford it, right? They'll be
Yeah.
6,000, I don't wanna pay 6,000.
6,000,
I'm
7,000.
still in sticker shock.
Yeah, so it's just that's why I like to have that mortgage payment a conversation up front, you know what I mean? This is what it really looks like. And that way they just know, you know?
Curiosity, when you give mortgage payment, do you give just PI or do you even factor in PITI?
I do PITI, need everything. I use Fidelity Agent One, that mortgage calculator. Yeah, that's the one I use, and I just type it in, and lets me send a text real quick with the payment. Yeah, no, I had everything.
All right, I mean, I just wanted to see how you did it.
Yeah,
No, giving PI really is.
taxes and insurance, man. You get half the payment, man, you know? Home search, make an offer. Post closing. You guys that are newer, man, you guys gotta know about the supplemental tax bill. I've had some angry buyers call me. You guys know what that is or no, supplemental tax bill?
Yeah, it just depends on when you buy, you might have to. It's a house that like, but
Yeah.
I learned it that way.
Yeah, that's
So
the,
it depends on who the seller was.
and how much they bought it
And
for.
how much, and what their current tax bill
Yeah, like if
was.
they had paid or.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so give me your name again, bro, sorry.
Joseph.
Joseph, so a supplement, so you know, when you have a buyer, you have to explain to them somewhere in the beginning of the process, hey, after we close, several months later, you're gonna get a tax bill from the county. It's gonna be the supplemental tax bill. That tax bill is a one-time charge. And that charge is for the difference in the tax rate of what you bought the house for and what the seller bought the house for. Because when you close,
It's a new value.
yeah,
And it's for the period of time that you were prorated.
correct,
Okay.
correct. So you just gotta explain to your buyers, like, so, and there's, you know, you can try to calculate it, but you're not gonna get it. You just, you know, for you to have an idea, just look at how much the seller bought the property for. And then see how much of a difference it is between what their buyers are buying it for now. You know, before my early days, I didn't quite know that. So buyers are calling me months later,
Like, what the
pissed
hell?
off. Eric, what's this bill? You didn't tell me about this. Lessons learned. So just know that.
You don't have to know the amount, but just let them
Yeah,
know.
just let them know I have some money stored away for this supplemental tax bill, you know, and there's plenty of information on Google if you wanna know more. And the county's slow, sometimes they take 3 months, sometimes they take 8 months, you know? Just, they gotta be ready for it. Buyer guide context, welcome letters, let's talk about, I think, everything to add on the buyer guide, on the little package. This is good. You guys are using Canva, right? Please use Canva.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a good idea to like, what you want, maybe create your pages on your little presentation. Command buyer guide, all you use command is solely customizable. This is an Ignite KW class, I'll be real with you guys, I don't use command. I use it to turn in my documents and my escrows, that's it. So it's up to you, I'm not gonna talk about something that I don't use.
Do you have like your contacts and all that on there, or you don't really like?
I use another CRM called Go High Level. Yeah, and that's where I keep all my stuff. Go High Level is crazy, it has all kinds of stuff, I don't use it enough. And that's the thing, I've been thankfully very busy with clients. I've worked on my systems, things like that, so maybe Command is good, maybe Command's got a whole bunch of stuff that I'm sleeping on, you know?
I mean, it looks like we can get this in command, right?
Probably,
That's how it looks like.
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah, and I've thought about it, I mean, I spent $100 on Go High Level, and KW as a company has spent all this money, time, and resources trying to give us the perfect CRM, and we're not using it, it's a little ironic, but maybe it's really good, and I don't know, I'm just stuck in my ways. Buyer guide, home wish list, yeah, just understanding your client's needs, like I got a client right now, they're you know, the father's in a wheelchair, so I need to make sure there's a bedroom downstairs, otherwise.
Or first.
Or just 1-story home, right? Otherwise, we're wasting our time. What are the non-negotiables for your home? You know, I've come to find that the non-negotiables are always a little negotiable. So, just, you know, you guys will get the intuition over time of what the buyers actually want and need. Beyond your top 5 needs, what is something you really need? Do you have preference for the year of the house that was built? That, you know, that could be important. It depends. Do you need a house to move in condition? Are you going to do some work? Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, You know, like a lot of first time buyers, obviously we're on a budget. I tell people, look, like, we could buy a remodeled home that an investor's flipping. Or we could buy something that's decent shape, good enough for you to live in and remodel on your own over time. You know, but then I like to ask them, like, okay, have you ever done any kind of remodel project? Do you have any family that's maybe done in construction, you know, so gauging all those different things. But if you can get a buyer to like say, like, I'm okay with something that needs a little bit of work, like, you know, like I work with a lot of Latinos, you know, Spanish speaking, and man, that uncle, cousin, dad, they're all, yeah, they're all coming to get that thing done in 3 days, you know what I mean? So and even though it's daughter buying the home, she has the credit, you know what I mean? So like, you gotta really find all that out. When people visit your home, what should they say about you? Are there any specific features that you would add to make your next list for the home? Would you require accessibility options, the wheelchair thing, right? They got babies, you know, things like that, babies, and then there's a pool. Does the house come with a little fence already around the pool? You know, things like that. Neighborhood insights, templates, and neighborhoods are in Command. See, I'm sure Command has a lot of stuff that I'm just not using. Just gotta take the time to look at it. Home loans made simple. You know, we're not lenders, guys. And I'll say it again, I keep saying it. You gotta ask those qualifying questions. You know, believe me, guys, I've wasted my time. I've wasted my time with buyers. And this happened just yesterday. The lady in San Pedro. She was super excited about the house. She's like, let's submit an offer. Great, let's do it. She was buying with her brother, right? And we had another offer on a property in Long Beach, 40,000 over asking, and they never responded to us. Anyway, now turns out that she wants to submit an offer in the San Pedro house, and then she throws me the curveball. Oh, by the way, my brother's not buying with me anymore. It's just me. Okay, well, we gotta talk to the lender, see if you qualify on your own. She doesn't, can't submit an offer, you know? So how could I have anticipated that? I don't know. I mean, there's no way I could have, you know? So yeah, just asking those qualifying questions, but even if you do, you might still miss, you know what I mean? You okay, Camila? You have any questions, anything to add?
Thank you.
Yeah, yo, back there in the area, you okay? Yeah, okay, cool. Any ahas, any thoughts, nothing?
Yeah, I
Alright.
just checked Command, and yeah, there are like 5, 6 templates for buyer's guide and listing presentations, and I wasted
Perfect.
my time preparing them on my own.
There you go, man.
Yeah,
We all have Command, guys. I know Command is full of things that I definitely am not using. So, Americ, if you use it and it works for you, man, if I see you running Long Beach, let me know, bro. Okay,
all right.
more in the chat now. All right. So we kind of talked a lot. Conducting the buyer consultation, kind of talked about that already. What's this called? I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they buy a home. It's an affirmation. Yeah, that is an affirmation, huh? All right, I feel affirmed. Yeah, no, you guys gotta have that confidence, man. I mean, I don't, you know, they say fake it till you make it, a little bit, kind of have to a little bit, you know, and I'd call that just confidence, you know, even if you don't quite know what you're doing. You know, it sucks when you're new and they always tell you, be okay with, that's a great question. Let me get right back to you. But when you have to say that 3 times at the same appointment, it doesn't look too good on you. So try your best, you know, and use your best judgment. Love letter, liability letter. Okay,
So
so
people still do that today?
yeah, I'm supposed to.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, I used to do them in 2020 when the market was crazy.
Well, it's still optional.
It's still optional. You can add a photo though. You cannot add a photo. Right. And then, you know, my love letter is usually my email, you know, and my email, I don't know, I've seen a lot of agents do a lot of different things. Some agents just send you the offer, see attached. And you have the offer attached. I like to type something out. Thank you for your communication on the listing. This is my buyer. They're excited about the home because of XYZ. Here's a summary of the offer. you know, and then I have my own same little spiel at the end. David, should your seller accept my client's offer, we will work diligently toward a smooth and timely escrow, you know? So you gotta have your little, that's my love letter, right? So, but you know.
But this is like a buyer sending it to the seller directly, right?
Correct.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't do
exactly.
that.
That's why I'm like, this is old school.
Yeah, it seems old school.
Actually, it's not that old school.
No.
It really did not appear really until almost, actually, 2020 is really when they really came to fruition.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had seen it earlier.
I mean, they were out there, but nothing like once 2020 hit.
Right,
You know?
right.
Because we never, I mean, prior to, I mean, we didn't even have them back in before the crash, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 and all that.
Yeah,
You know, with those multiple offers, very few love letters were ever submitted.
yeah, no, and, you know, especially now, they're really cracking down on it, so we just gotta be careful. So the love letter, it worked for me. I got some offers accepted because of my love letter.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But that came from you,
Yeah, it came from me, just a little Word document with a picture of the family.
because I think the risk is like coming from the buyer directly. And
Yeah,
whatever they're
right.
buying, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't wanna do that. You don't wanna let your buyer do that. Okay, moving on.
That's it.
Getting the signed buyer agreement. Okay, buyer broker agreement, Steve, you using them? You use them all the time?
Well, I use I don't work with a lot of buyers anymore, you
Uh-huh.
know, but when I do, obviously now I use them.
Yeah,
Prior to the settlement, I rarely used them.
yeah, I'm stuck in my ways. I mean, you definitely need it now when you sign an offer. That's the rule now, right? If they were trying to make it to show property, that
Right.
scared me. I was like, bro, you know, like, so you definitely need it now to submit an offer. You know, it depends on the relationship with the buyer, you know what I mean? Like, the cash buyer, the man with the wheelchair, like I had him in escrow and they canceled, right?
The one with the foundation.
The foundation. I don't know, and then after conversating with a little bit more, I'm having a little trust issues as an agent, you know? So I had them sign the buyer broker agreement. I'm like, hey, man, you know, I've been giving them a lot of value. I've been connecting them with, like financial advisors, attorneys because they got this big settlement, right? So I'm like, look, I've been really committed to you guys. I want your commitment. And they signed it, no problem. You know what I mean? I provided a lot of value. But yeah, most of the time I'm not using buyer broker agreements.
But have you been getting a lot of pushback from buyers on it?
Well, the thing is, it depends on the buyer. This buyer, no, right?
What about like in general, I guess, like.
Well, the thing is, I don't use it until I have to submit an offer most of the time, right? Yeah, so it is good practice. I would say that.
Is your question to ask, is the question by you asking that question of the pushback from the buyers?
Or they're like, wait,
To sign a buyer broker agreement, or that they are committed to being the responsible party for payment of the commission?
No, not necessarily that, maybe that too, who knows, but I was just curious, because I know it's a newer thing. So I was just curious if buyers were.
It actually, I think because of it now being that it's their responsibility and commitment to you as the buyer's agent, it makes it so much easier to bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay, by the way, you know, I'm not sure if you're aware about, you know, used to be then, you know, sellers used to, you know, end up paying our commission automatically. It was split 50-50, you know, split between listing and even. It's not that way anymore. However, most sellers, and I would explain to them, not all sellers offer a commission. So, and as a result, and I kind of give a little a quick backstory of the NAR settlement.
Yeah,
Okay, that buyers are now responsible, tactically responsible, but hopefully the property that you're going to end up want to purchase, the seller will end up, you know, being able to share compensation with.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's something I added, go ahead.
You know, and so then that's when, you know, at that point, so that what that then means to you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is that if in the event the property you want to buy, they're not offering compensation, you're going to be responsible for that. Are you going to be okay with that?
Yeah.
You know, do you have the fund? And it brings it right up to the surface, right on the front. So if they say no, then I just need to make sure you're aware then that I may not be able to show you all the homes that are gonna be available for sale.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
at that point.
and it's up to you. I personally don't really go there, like I said, because I don't even use it. I just ahead of ahead of time. So first of all, on the buyer broker agreement on other, I put buyer's agent to negotiate for seller designation. I just put that on the other terms, on the buyer broker agreement. And then since I'm not really using it until I submit an offer, whatever I put on the offer, because now on the offer, you put the compensation you're asking for, right? And then I just put the buyer broker agreement to match that.
Okay.
amount, so the buyer just knows, okay, they're not gonna pay commission, and I still to this day have not had a buyer pay me commission. Sellers are paying commissions, getting the buyer's signed agreement. Okay, I think that was it. Anything else you guys want to share, talk about? Goals for agreement, wrapping up the buyer consult, ahas to achievement, how will your thinking change? How do you feel? Differently about what was your meaningful to you today, how would behaviors? So what did you guys learn? You guys are like newer, what do you guys think?
Definitely kind of more of like a conversation piece.
Okay,
Consistently. For me, I was talking to him a little bit earlier when we first got here. I was talking to somebody yesterday from my sphere of influence. And she had ran into a property that's like 300, listed at 315. But she's looking to like fix it up and then rent it out in the future.
okay,
But that's when he told me about like all the stuff with Hawthorne and
The developing
Inglewood,
side.
on the development side. So now my follow-up is kind of gonna be a little bit more like, hey, I just want you to be aware so I can disclose that to her.
right,
And then we could see if she still wants to follow through with either
Yeah.
committed to that one.
right,
Or I could start offering her, like, see what else I can find around the area. That can make it easier for her.
yeah,
So for me, it's just kind of more like, I'm trying to be a little bit more aggressive with myself.
yeah,
Because I like being busy, so I'm just trying to like figure out ways to be more aggressive. And like, I feel like after today, like I have instrument in my talking piece where I can utilize a little bit.
you don't really come to the role play class on Wednesdays, huh?
No, I'm gonna come, this is gonna be my first one, this one.
Yeah, no, tomorrow we don't have role play class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's something else in place, but pull up, I mean, every Wednesday, and I'll put you on blast, bro, we'll practice. I'll put you on blast. Yeah. Camila, did you learn anything?
I learned that when I show like somebody an open house or show somebody one of the house that I want, I can bring to some more open houses from the Sobra and show at the same time in the same day.
Yeah.
So that opportunity.
Yeah, if it's a qualified person, you're in the area already working, it's worth spending a little more time and report. Yeah. Steve, you learn anything?
I learn things all the time. I mean, so much of it is really just is constant communication.
Correct.
Matter of fact, I'm really able to compare how it used to be versus how it is.
Yeah.
And how it used to be was such a closed network, where it was a mystery for both buyers, especially buyers.
Yeah.
Okay. In the sense of we controlled all the information, we controlled the flow of the information. And so in order for them to get it, they had to follow our instruction. If they wanted to buy a home, all right, here's how we work. I need for you to come to the office. We need to be able to sit down. We need to be able to talk about your wants, needs, the areas.
Yeah.
We need for you, and we're gonna put you in contact with our lender to get you pre-qualified. We're gonna then, open up the book, okay, the MLS book, okay, and then.
Yeah, but it looks to be a flip, right?
There needs to be a flipping book, I mean, and so, but the reality is most buyers today are armed at least, and if not bombarded with more information than they even know what to do with.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're probably confused of over information,
Yeah.
so probably
Exactly.
almost our jobs, I think as agents today, is to kind of scale it back to its most elementary form to kind of take the enormity outside of the price tag. We can't change the price tag.
Right.
But the enormity of really what we're doing is making sure that you can qualify to purchase the home that falls within your budget, both emotionally and financially with the lender. Okay?
exactly.
You know, at that point. And then my job is to be able to make sure the home that you get, okay, meets most of your criteria, okay, on your list of what you want to be able to have. And for me to protect your interest during not only the negotiations, but during the escrow itself.
Yep.
To a smooth and final, closing, at that point.
Yeah, is there anything back there?
So,
Okay, good job. What about on Zoom?
Yeah,
What you learned today, bro?
I mean, I learned a lot about the text supplements, the templates, a lot of things, but I just want to say that I really liked your style. You make things look easier, simpler. It feels like you're the kind of person that would be calm when everyone else is panicking. And this is a good trait, like I don't think you would make it even if everything is on fire, just like it's just fire, this is kind of the I think your style of doing business, and I just liked it.
Thanks,
Because
bro.
it's very
Thank you.
comforting for the client, and I think we should be doing the same.
Yeah, it's just a matter of experience, man. I just hit 9 years, like this past weekend. So it's just practice over time. And your skin gets thick, man. Your skin gets
It
thick like
does.
leather, and you start, to a new agent, it might be a big problem, but when you've gone through all this craziness, you start realizing like it's just another day in real estate,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Omar, for being part of it. We have do you do Stefan's role play class over there in Long Beach?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's important, man. We gotta know how to say and what to say. Austin, I don't know if you're there, bro. Yeah, can you share with us if you learned anything? Going once, going twice. Okay. Unless you guys have anything else for me, I'm here. Yeah, anything to share, bro? Anything to ask? Did you have a good time? Did you have fun? I think he did. Okay. Anything else for you guys? Huh? All right.
Well, bro, good.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys attending. Let's make some money. None of this makes sense. None of this makes sense if we're not making money, guys. Yeah. So let's get paid.
Sure.
Thank you, Omar. See you guys.